Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Jackie. Nice to see you.
I made it.
You made it.
President Sklar, the meeting has begun. The attendees have filled in. The floor is yours, sir.
Great. Thanks, Billy, very much. Appreciate it. Good morning and welcome to the January 12th meeting of the California Fish and Game Commission. Welcome, everybody. We're continuing to do these meetings in Zoom, and we appreciate everybody's patience with that. I'd like to quickly do ask Rachel to do a technical note so everybody knows how this is going to work, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, President Sklar. If you're participating in the Zoom webinar and calling in by phone, please make sure that your phone number and your Zoom webinar are linked. If you logged into Zoom first and used the call me option, that linkage happened automatically. Please note that if you are joining by phone only and wish to speak on an agenda item, staff will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. If you're having any technical difficulties with the meeting, please contact either email it@agpvideo.com, which is the preferred method, or phone number 805-801-3576. And both of those pieces of contact information are available on the agenda. Finally, Zoom's chat feature is disabled. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I would say, I just want to let everybody know that until we are taking public comment, you're on mute. We will let you know how to unmute yourself and participate in more detail as we get to public comment. First, I'd like to ask Sherry to do a roll call, please, to establish a quorum.
President Sklar.
Here.
Vice President Murray.
Here.
Commissioner Hostler-Carmison.
Here.
Commissioner Silva.
Here.
Great, thank you. We have a quorum. And now I'd like to ask our Executive Director, Melissa, to talk about the meeting in general and rules for the meeting and procedures. And after making introductions of everybody on the call from the department and the commission.
Thank you, President Sklar. Good morning, commissioners. Today you have with you on in your meeting myself, obviously, Melissa Miller-Henson, Executive Director. We have with us today as well Rachel Belmonte, our Deputy Executive Director, our Legal Counsel, Mike Yon, Wildlife Advisor Ari Kornman, our Analyst Sherry Fonbuena, and our Analyst Cynthia McKeith, as well as our Sea Grant Fellow Rose Dodgen, and then other staff following and conducting work in the background to support the meeting, which we very much appreciate. With us today from our partner agency, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, we have Director Chuck Bonham. We also have Deputy Director and Chief of Law Enforcement, David Bess, as well as Deputy Director of the Wildlife and Fisheries Division, Stafford Lair. I believe we may have another staff member to join who they will introduce at the time they speak. Also to share with the general public, this last year marked the beginning of the 150th year of the commission and the department's existence. We both originate from the same organization. So both organizations have been around for a long, long time. Our goal is the preservation of our heritage and conservation of our natural resources. And in that spirit, we provide the following information. We are operating under the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act, and these proceedings are being recorded and broadcast, so please keep that in mind. Items can be heard in any order pursuant to the determination of the presiding commissioner. In this case, that would be President Sklar, and the amount of time for each agenda item may be adjusted based on the time available and the number of speakers. We will ask how many speakers we have before taking public comment, so please be prepared and listen closely for your name or phone number to be called. When you speak, please state your name and any affiliation. Be respectful and note that disruptions will not be tolerated. Time is precious, so please be concise. To receive meeting agendas and regulatory notices, if you don't already, you can visit our website at fgc.ca.gov and sign up for our electronic mailing lists from the right side of the web page. In addition, if today you are requesting that the Commission make a change to regulations, that is required to be submitted in writing. We have a form to help you do that with instructions and questions that will inform the commission and help the commission make a decision with regard to the requested change. It's available on our website as well on the right-hand side of the page. If you have any trouble finding it or need assistance, please don't hesitate to contact staff. We will assist you. Please do make sure to silence your mobile devices and computers to avoid disruptions. And for anyone who has joined the meeting who just wants to watch the proceedings, is not planning to participate in public comment, you are welcome to join via the webcast, which is also linked from our homepage. Thank you, President Sklar.
Great, thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. I'd like now to
President
ask
Sklar?
if there's any. I'm sorry. Yes, Michael, please.
I may have missed it, but I didn't hear you actually formally call the meeting to order. You recognized that there was a quorum, and you might have. I might have just missed it.
No, you're right. You're right. I didn't. I'm calling a meeting to order now. Thank you for that. I now would like to ask any elected officials or tribal representatives who are on the call to raise their hand. Again, you can do this on Zoom by raising your hand, and remind me on how you do it on phone call. Rachel?
You can raise your hand by pressing *9 only once. If you press it twice, it will unraise your hand.
Okay, great. We have one person, is Nancy Ogren there? And if you're a public official or a tribal representative, we're going to let you talk now. Could you just introduce yourself, Nancy, please?
I am Siskiyou County Supervisor, District 4.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here, and we'll probably be talking to you, hearing from you in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to consider the order of the agenda to see if there's any requests for changes in the agenda by my fellow commissioners, or whether we can have a motion to approve the agenda as planned.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as planned.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hostler-Carmison, seconded by Vice President Murray. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hostler-Carmison,
Aye.
Vice President Murray,
Aye.
Commissioner Silva,
Aye.
President Sklar.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is for items not on today's agenda. I would like to point out, though, that if you want to comment on executive session, public forum would be the time to do it, since executive session does not provide that opportunity. So if you'd like to make any comment on any item on not on today's agenda, except for items on the executive summary, please raise your hand. Again, you can do this by raising your hand in Zoom, or pressing *9 on your phone once to raise your hand if you're calling by phone. Again, if you're on the phone, don't do it twice, because then you'll lower your hand. Each time you do it, you raise and then lower your hand. So just do it once. Once I see how many commenters there are, we'll decide on the time, but it looks like we'll do 3 minutes. I want to give another minute or two just for everybody who'd like to speak to raise their hands. Okay. Sherry, would you like to start calling the names? And we will give 3 minutes for each speaker.
Jennifer Fearing,
Good morning, President Sklar. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Good morning. This is Jennifer Fearing. I'm here today on behalf of the Center for Food Safety. Welcome and Happy New Year to all of you, despite the auspicious beginning to this year. I'm here today on behalf of Center for Food Safety, which is a co-petitioner in the CISA Bumblebees effort, which you'll be discussing in executive session. And I wanted to be here to strongly urge the commission to join the petitioners, interveners in appealing the trial court decision. Doing so responds to the current extinction crisis occurring worldwide and in California. Indeed, Governor Newsom issued an executive order in October of last year, which outlined the importance of protecting California's biodiversity. And he did not draw distinctions between what types of biodiversity should be protected, and underscored the urgency of preventing the extinction of all types of biodiversity as critical for our future survival. Pollinators are experiencing severe declines. Just this year, the monarch butterfly population has plummeted alarmingly. Terrestrial insects are part of the backbone of biodiversity, and these species must be accorded protections under CISA if they meet the standards for listing. Besides the petition for the 4 bee species, the commission is also considering a petition to list the highly endangered Kino checker spot butterfly. The trial court's decision on the bee petition is not precedential, but failure to appeal this decision could result in other courts striking down any future efforts to list terrestrial invertebrates. The Commission's ability to sufficiently protect California's biodiversity requires that it be able to protect key species like insects. Failure to appeal the trial court decision and failure to proceed with the bee petition would be an abdication of the Commission's responsibility to protect our declining biodiversity. Your commission believed that bees, these 4 bees, were eligible for protection under CISA when you made your finding in June of 2019. So why would the commission abandon that position and your efforts to protect these 4 critically endangered species based on one highly erroneous trial court decision? Just because one trial court got it wrong does not mean that your commission should give up protecting pollinators. So with that, we urge the commission to join interveners and appeal the trial court's decision and continue to proceed with a listing process for the 4 bee species. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim Delfino. Go ahead, please. Kim
Hi, Kim,
Delfino, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Kim, you're unmuted. Maybe you have to unmute yourself. Hello, Kim. Okay, we're going to come back to Kim. Let's go to Nancy, supervisor. Sorry.
Oh, hi. I just want to say thanks for allowing me to be here on this call today. I'm new to the position and I'm just trying to learn all I can. Thank you.
Great. Wonderful having you here, and we look forward to hearing from you again in the future, hopefully.
I appreciate it.
Let's try Kim again. Oh, Kim Delfino, please raise your hand again and try to unmute yourself, because I think we had unmuted. So we'll go to the next speaker, which is Catherine Peace, and then we'll come back.
Catherine Peace.
Good morning. Good morning, President Sklar, commissioners, and staff. My name is Dr. Catherine Pease, and I'm the Director of Science and Policy at Heal the Bay. On behalf of Heal the Bay and the other members of the Wetlands Restoration Principles Steering Committee, including Friends of Bionda Wetlands, Trust for Public Land, LA Waterkeeper, Surfrider South Bay, and Loyola Marymount University Center for Urban Resilience, we offer our sincere congratulations on the state's certification of the Bionda Wetlands Restoration Project and the selection of Alternative 1. The restoration of the Bionda Wetlands will be one of the most significant environmental restoration and public access projects ever undertaken for the residents of LA County. It will provide critical resilience in the face of climate change, new recreational opportunities for families and communities throughout the region, and a haven for wildlife. The restoration will leave a lasting and important legacy for future generations of all Angelenos. In addition to the 5 aforementioned organizations, numerous other leading environmental and community-based organizations and scientists support this project. In fact, 15 well-respected scientists sent in recent support letters to the governor, including climate scientists Dr. Jeremy Powell and Alex Hall, as well as esteemed groups, including the Nature Conservancy, Urban Semillas, Pacoima Beautiful, and Climate Resolve, among many others. Thank you to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife for taking this important step in the long-awaited restoration of a fully functioning and accessible Bionda wetlands. We look forward to partnering with you to see this project to fruition so that communities from the entire region can experience thriving wetlands right here in Los Angeles. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak.
Great, thank you very much. Sherry, can we try Kim Delfino again?
Kim Delfino, go ahead.
Great, can you hear me now?
We can,
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim, welcome.
Good morning, I apologize for the technical
No worries.
phone because my computer audio is not very good. So I'm representing Defenders of Wildlife this morning, also a co-petitioner on the petition, and I'm here to urge the commission to appeal.
This is Melissa. Could you make sure to speak directly into your microphone? You keep fading out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is why I was trying to do it.
Yeah, maybe turn off the audio on your computer as well, so we're not hearing. Maybe the feedback may be causing it to mute.
I'm sorry. Maybe what I should do is I should just call in via my phone and not do this via computer
Yeah, I think you need to call him via your phone. Yeah, why don't you try that? We'll come back to you. Next speaker, Rick Powers, please.
Rick Powers, go ahead.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. My name is Richard Powers, and I'm president of Golden Gate Fishermen's Association. Thank you for the opportunity to comment regarding the recreational Dungeness crab trap regulations the commission adopted on December 9th, 2020. We as industry and the non-boat owning public's access to this very valuable and popular recreational resource have serious concerns and questions about the regulations and their impact on the public and our vessel operations going forward into the 2021 season. The effect of these regulations could be financially devastating to our vessels. During the December meeting, the department alluded to the fact that the regulations wouldn't go into effect until November 2021, and that they would be open to discussions and input prior to that implementation date. We are presently in the process of setting up a meeting with the department to present what we consider to be important, valid concerns regarding our fleet and their operations regarding these changes. We look forward to the opportunity to discuss these very important issues and concerns in the near future. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Great, thank you.
Serena Jepson, go ahead.
Hey, yes, I am the Endangered Species Program Director at the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation. My name is Serena Jepson, and I'm speaking about the CISA bumblebee issue on the agenda. We are a co-petitioner for these 4 species of bumblebees, along with the Center for Food Safety and Defenders of Wildlife. Insects are absolutely essential to the functioning of California's ecosystems, performing the key services of pollination and pest control, among others. And insects make up 80% of all animal species on this planet. When the state legislature passed the California Endangered Species Act with the broad purpose of conserving the state's biodiversity, they certainly intended to include insects as animals eligible for protection. These 4 bumblebees are but a few of California's insect pollinators that are on the verge of extinction, and whose few remaining populations could be saved by the California Endangered Species Act. We also have monarch butterflies, which are beloved by so many Californians, facing a steeper crisis this year than ever before. The Xerces Society runs the annual Western monarch count each year, and just this fall, the monarch population of the entire Western US, which overwinters on the California coast, plummeted to a mere 1,912 butterflies, down from about 30,000 butterflies for the last 2 years, which were previously unprecedented lows. And as recently as 2017, we had hundreds of thousands of monarchs overwintering on California's coast. In the 1980s, we had millions. In December, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decided not to list monarch butterflies. They made them candidate species. They decided they were warranted but precluded under the Federal Endangered Species Act. And that is unfortunately really problematic for the Western population because it confers no actual protection. So we're facing a future where monarch butterflies and many of our other common bees and butterflies may no longer exist in California without bold action. I really hope that the commission will recognize that the Superior Court decision by just one judge was an error and will decide to appeal it. And appealing this decision will really show that the state is willing to fight to save California's important pollinators. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caller with phone number ending in 811. You may need to unmute yourself using *6.
Hi, good morning. This is Andy Giuliano. Do you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Commission. I represent 9 charter boats in the San Francisco Bay Area. We're asking the Commission to delay and reconsider the changes in the 2021 recreational Dungeness crab regulations. The CPFB community is unanimous in its agreement that the proposed regulations were advanced without adequate discussion and representation. The record reflects the following items. The Whale Working Group is established by the department in 2015, which was created to collaboratively inform and guide the state of California, continues to have no recreational crab representative on the panel. Second, the notice of hearing of the proposed regulations occurred on August 19th. Proposed items were not on the September agenda, and the October 14th agenda only included 4 speakers, of which 1 was from the Center of Biological Diversity. Given the dislocation of statewide fires, virus disruptions, and adequate due process, the community would ask the Commission to postpone and reconsider the proposed regulation changes. CPF-free trips represent nearly 1/3 of our 2020 gross revenue. The regulations as set forth in the December meeting represent devastating financial consequences to the Bay Area community. For over 20 years, California charter boats have been successfully managed with pot limits and buoy marking requirements, turning in a perfect record of 0 marine entanglements. While we agree the management improvements can be made, we ask the Commission to give similar attention to the charter boat community as they do the commercial fishery, and delay and reconsider proposed regulations with additional feedback and input from the fleet. Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry, let's go to the number ending in 277. I believe that's probably Kim.
Caller with number ending in 277. You may need to unmute yourself using *6.
Good morning. This is Kim Delfino. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for your patience. I apologize for the technical issues. This is Kim Delfino. I'm with Defenders of Wildlife. We're a co-petitioner on the 4B species petition. And I am here to urge the Commission to appeal the decision of the Sacramento Superior Court, in which the court concluded that CISA does not protect insects, including the 4 native bee species. We believe that the trial court's opinion is incorrect for several reasons and will be reversed on appeal. The court ignored or discounted key provisions of the Fish and Game Code, which together show that CISA does protect insects. The court relied on selective portions of CISA's legislative history rather than the history as whole, which shows that the legislature believes CISA protects insects. The court relied on poorly reasoned administrative decisions. Many others are better reasoned and say that CISA protects insects. Also, controlling case law requires that any ambiguities to be construed in favor of species protection, and the trial court did not follow this case law. And finally, we believe the court did not appropriately defer to the Commission and the Department, which plainly support the position that CISA protects insects. The Commission should appeal the trial court decision because this case presents a purely legal question, which is whether CISA protects invertebrates. Which means that the Court of Appeal will review the trial court's decision without any deference to that lower court's decision. And that means that the appeals court will review all the arguments as if looking at them for the first time. We believe that the Court of Appeal will not repeat the same mistakes as the trial court and will rule in the Commission's favor. The petitioners strongly believe the trial court erred, and we are planning to appeal this decision. We urge the Commission to do the same. Failure to appeal would be essentially conceding that insects like bees and butterflies, which you've already heard that monarchs are in a very precarious position, cannot be protected from extinction by the state of California under CISA. Thank you for the opportunity to express our views, and I would wish you guys a happy new year as we start 2021 afresh.
Thanks, Kim. We're going to go to Supervisor Howard next, I believe, Sherry.
Supervisor Howard, go ahead, please.
Good morning, President Sklar. Pleasure to talk with you and the Commission today. I'm here today to support the department's eyesore on mammal regulations. I know this does not come up in your agenda till later, but unfortunately I have conflicts with my own board meeting today. So I wanted to ensure that at least you knew that Del Norte County supports that there currently is no other reasonable alternative than to make the amendments as suggested in section 708.19 as proposed by the department. And we look forward to seeing your support for this reasonable cure, in our opinion, to reinstate a refund and preference points for those that lost their opportunity due to the catastrophic fires in 2020. And that's really all I had to say today. It's a pleasure to see you, President Sklar. I look forward to actually visiting all of you in person when this pandemic's over. Best of health to you all. Thank you.
Great, Supervisor Howard, and Happy New Year to you, and can't wait to see you in person again too. Thank you. Sure, I think we're gonna go to Sunshine probably.
Sunshine Saldivar.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Great, good morning. My name is Sunshine Saldivar. I am counsel with the California Farm Bureau, which represents over 35,000 growers throughout the state. I'm here today on behalf of a broad coalition of farming interests that challenge the candidacy determination for the 4 subspecies of bumblebees. I'm not here to rehash the arguments of the parties in the litigation. Rather, I ask you to consider collaboration and stakeholder engagement as a means to achieve the conservation of pollinators. We submit that insects present unique practical and legal issues, and that there's opportunity to utilize a collaborative stakeholder process to develop robust environmental policy to protect pollinators. Such policy tailored to the challenges pollinators face, which is much more likely to meet their conservation needs than CISA. The farming community is prepared to pivot away from the litigation and engage in such a stakeholder process. We are uniquely suited to do so, considering our expertise in pollinator management and in light of the central role of pollinators in farming and providing food security for our state and for the nation. We would be pleased to engage with the commission, staff, CDFW, CDFA, petitioners, and any other interested stakeholders to identify the elements of a conservation strategy and the means to ensure that they're successfully implemented. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Caller with phone number ending in 093. You may need to unmute yourself using *6. Phone caller, phone number ending in 093. You need to unmute yourself. Okay, we'll come back to you. We're going to go on to the next speaker. Paul Wieland, you may need to unmute yourself.
Good morning, commissioners. This is Paul Weiland. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Great, thank you very much. President Sklar, members of the commission, as you are aware, I represent the farming community in the litigation that was brought challenging the candidacy determination. And I just wanted to briefly express our view that the court decision is sound, that the comments of the petitioners for listing here do not reflect a reasoned view of that decision, of the structure of CISA, the legislative history of CISA, the Attorney General's formal opinion, the Department of Fish and Wildlife's formal position with respect to CISA and its application to insects, as well as the Office of Administrative Law and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The clear weight of authority favors the position drawn by the court and the Attorney General's office. And we would prefer to see the commission not misuse resources by continuing a fruitless appeal. We appreciate the importance of protecting pollinators and other insects, but the legislature here did not make the decision to do so. The 1984 amendments most clearly express that's the case, as does all the administrative decision-making that occurred both before and subsequent to those amendments. So we urge you not to waste resources on an appeal, but to work with the farming community and others to protect pollinators. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Phone caller with number ending in 093. Can you unmute yourself now? Use *6 on your phone. Or a mute button on your phone.
Okay, actually, that person's not able to do that. So we're going to go to Walter Lamb, I guess. And he has a presentation, I believe.
Walter Lamb, go ahead. We'll bring your presentation up.
And when the presentation comes to Walter, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. Walter Lamb, representing the Biowetlands Land Trust. As you know, the department did certify its final EIR. We thought, based on the director's comments at the last meeting, that might not happen until after the New Year's, but it happened on December 30th. We are preparing our secret challenge to that. We are very confident that it's going to come back to the drawing board. It just has too many serious deficiencies in it. But I wanted to address, if we could go to next slide, please. Let's talk about public access, because in the meantime, while we're waiting for this thing to figure itself out, we have an ecological reserve that's mostly restricted from access. Our organization has funded many schools coming. We paid for this bus, brought these kids to the ecological reserve. So when the director talked about some of the access that's ongoing, we're very familiar with that. We are a participant in that. If you go to the next slide, please. Thank you. These are the school kids and some of the parents that were chaperoning that came into the ecological reserve. This is an incredible opportunity for them. If you could go to the next slide, please. We work with LA Audubon. They provide a lot of the structure for the program. We pay for the buses, bring the kids, do the pre-visit to the school. If you could go to the next slide, please. This is me, helping out with binocular practice. If you ever see me in this environment, I'll seem a lot happier than sometimes, the frustration of the public comment period. If you go to the next slide, please. This is one of our educators, Sophia, working with the kids, pointing out, various wildlife and plants. You go to the next slide, please. And so here's where we are now, is we've got the director of Fish and Wildlife saying, we don't let a lot of people out there. This was the recent press release. It's a safety risk. So I want to say, if it were a safety risk, that screams out as a solvable problem. This was acquired 17 years ago. But I will point out that there are Little League operations in the ecological reserve. If you actually go to the next slide, please. This was a gate that cost $32,000. It was put there so that people could access this ecological reserve, and it's been shut. This, Director Bonham, was the gate that was referred to. And it is in fact the case that only SoCal Gas and the department can sometimes go through this gate. This is not open to the public. It was meant to be open to the public. So it was a bit, frankly, disingenuous for you to make the comment you did that we didn't have our facts right. If you could go to the next slide, please. The department had a plan. The department had a plan in end of 2018, 2019 to open that gate, and they changed their mind. If you go to the next slide, please. This was that plan. This was what we wanted implemented. So there's nothing crazy about what we're asking for. We don't know what it was that spooked the department from implementing this. Next slide, please. So this is the baseball field on the ecological reserve. I'm out of time. Didn't get to talk about the parking lots, which I think you'll talk about in closed session. We're just asking for this ecological reserve to be run like a public ecological reserve and not a private club. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure, let's try that speaker again. The caller, give her one last chance to try to unmute.
Okay, caller with phone number ending in 093. You need to unmute yourself. You can use *6 on your phone or the mute button on your phone.
Okay, I'm sorry that caller is not going to be able to get in. Caller, if you want to email us or write us, please do so with your comments. Now we're going to turn to item number 3 because there's no discussion allowed on the public comment items. We're going to turn to mammal hunting regulations. Ari, please kick it off.
Thank you, President Sklar. This item is to discuss proposed changes for deer and antelope hunting quotas and seasons, and proposed changes for to elk, antelope, and bighorn sheep tags. In particular, the proposed changes to elk, bighorn sheep, and pronghorn antelope tags is a proposal for the refund of tag fees and to reinstate the preference points of hunters for selected hunts that endured a significant loss of opportunity due to forest fires and other closures in specified hunts and hunt zones in the year 2020. For reference, the 3 eyesores that make up the proposal for this item are exhibits 1 through 3 in your binder.
Carrie, do we have a presentation from the department?
Nope, this is the discussion hearing. Oh, I should also mention the adoption hearing is scheduled for the February meeting in 2020. This is just discussion to take comment from the public.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, any questions or comments for Ari first, and then we'll go to public comment? Seeing none, let's go to the two speakers. We have two speakers. Sherry, please call them. Sherry, I don't hear you. I think you must maybe unmute.
Sorry. Phone caller
worries.
with number ending in 831. You need to unmute yourself using *6, and I need to remember to unmute myself too.
No worries.
Caller with
Speaker, you-
phone number ending in 831. One more try. Use *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, we're going to move to the next speaker. Bill Gaines.
President Sklar, good morning.
Yeah, who's this?
Good morning, President Sklar and Commissioners. This is Roy Griffith representing the California Rifle and Pistol Association.
Okay, Ray, go
I
ahead,
would
please.
like to, thank you, sir. I'd like to speak in support to authorize the Fish and Game to refund tag fees and most importantly, reinstate the preference points. We're personally aware of numerous individuals that were caught in the situation of having a tag of the dream of their lifetimes in elk hunt they've been putting in for 19 years, and then federal lands and state lands closed because of the tremendous fires. We're unable to take advantage of that tremendous opportunity. So we're strongly supporting your decision to reinstate those tag fees. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Bill Gaines, go ahead, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. President Sklar, commissioners, commission staff, and department staff. My name is Bill Gaines, and on this issue representing the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and the Wild Sheep Foundation. And I wanted to start by thanking Director Bonham and Deputy Director Stafford Lair and Wildlife Branch Chief Scott Gardner and other DFW staff for recognizing the urgent need to take the unprecedented step to restore preference points and refund tag fees for those who drew highly coveted elk, pronghorn antelope, and bighorn sheep tags for this past season, but did lose hunting opportunity due to the drastic fires and the sweeping land closures. Thank you for making that an urgent issue and for dropping a whole bunch of stuff that's on their plate and seeing to it that that package can be brought together and it brought forth to the commission. Also wanted to thank the commission for adjusting your very busy schedule to hold the discussion hearing on this issue today to allow for adoption at the February meeting, which will pave the way for a safe and timely restoration of those preference points prior to the 2021 draw that'll be coming up in just a few months. So thank you to the department. Thank you to the commission for making this an important step. And we're very, very pleased to strongly support this proposal by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Thank you.
Bill Romanelli.
Yes, thank you. And good morning, everybody. I'll start off by saying I'm a hunter and an outdoorsman myself, work with some of the organizations that have already spoken, but in full transparency, I don't have necessarily a dog in this particular fight. I did not win any of those special tags, unfortunately. So I just wanted to voice my support for this proposal. Obviously, I think it just makes good sense. It's fair. I do recognize, of course, that the department and conservation efforts in general benefit largely from these fees. And so my question is the refund just going to be an automatic thing, or is there room to ask the people who are entitled to reimbursement if they'd like to donate those fees back to help fund conservation efforts or not? That's it for me. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Last caller, Neil Lopez, right?
Neil Lopez, go ahead. You need to unmute yourself.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Commissioners, thank you. I just want to mirror the comments that have already been made on item number 3 from the others, and to agree 100% with Supervisor Howard's comments earlier from Del Norte County. We appreciate and support the commissioner's consideration this amendment to the regulations. And I too know several people who lost the opportunity to hunt elk, antelope, and bighorn sheep this past year due to the fires and the Forest Service closures. So we support your efforts in this.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are no further speakers, so commissioners, any questions or comments? Again, this is a discussion hearing. We're not actually taking action today. Okay, Aria, seeing none.
President Sklar, if I might, I just thought I might respond to the comment, about the donator. It's not an automatic refund. The hunters who didn't use their tag in these hunts will need to submit the tag back to the department. If they wish to donate that money to the department, just don't send your tag in, and the money will stay.
Great, thank you.
But then, of course, you wouldn't be able to get your preference points back too. But but that is an option.
Thank you. Vice President Murray, I see you turn your mic on.
Yeah, so I'm supportive of this. I think this makes sense. I appreciate the package that's before us. I did just want to acknowledge, we heard from some folks at the December meeting, particularly folks who came up with a tag for White Mountain Bighorn sheep hunting. And I know that is really a once in a lifetime tag. It's not an easy one. People wait years and years for that opportunity. And while I know we can't we're restoring preference points and et cetera, we cannot automatically allow a new tag for next year for those folks. I do hope in the future there is some kind of action we can take to consider those kinds of things in a more comprehensive way, because I know it's, I really just wanted to say that I heard and understood the loss and regret that loss and just want to acknowledge that. And I hope in the future there's something we can do related to that.
Okay, great. That makes a lot of sense. Anybody else? If not, we'll move on to we're gonna move on to executive session. So we're going to go into executive session. We're going to come back. We don't know exactly how long. We think about 30 minutes, but we would encourage you, if you want to speak or listen to the last item, which is item number 4 on bumblebees, that you stay tuned. Certainly it'll be 15 or 20 minutes minimum, but anything longer than that, I would stay tuned, because we will come back as soon as we're done with executive session. So with that, we're going to retreat, and we're going to go to a separate line to do that. We'll see y'all in a couple minutes, commissioners.
Okay, all devices are recording and the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Just one second. Welcome back to the Fish and Game Commission of January 12th. We're coming out of executive session, and I do have some information to report from executive session. In executive session, the commission unanimously delegated to Vice President Murray and myself decision authority on whether to appeal the case on the 4 bumblebee CSIL petition. That's in part because of the timing of the requirement for appeal and a timing of our next meeting. But it was clear from the discussion that the 4 commissioners are unanimous in our belief that the case that we presented was right, and that the commission does have authority over these species. But we want to give further really detailed consideration, because this is a complicated case, and appeal has multiple aspects to it, not just believing that you're right. And so we're going to continue to consider this. I believe we have until February 8th, which unfortunately is a couple days before our next meeting, which is why the commission decided to delegate the authority to Commissioner Murray and myself. Given that, as we move on to item 4, we are not under pressure on item 4. We can continue this to our next meeting, so that we do it based on whether or not we appeal or not. That will make be dispositive whether it's a moot point to reverse our earlier decision. Therefore, we're going to take public comment on item 4. I would ask anybody who's given public comment during public comment on the executive session, which is an identical item, if you more or less, that you just if you want to raise your hand and just say that you want your comments from public forum entered in the record, that's fine. I would ask that you not repeat the comments, because we have them all recorded and on record. And then I'm going to ask my fellow commissioners to continue this item to our February meeting. So with that, I would ask that any members of the public who would like to speak on this issue, please raise their hand. Again, by raising your hand in Zoom or pressing *9 if you're calling in by phone. We'll give people a minute or two to do that, and then we'll start calling on anybody who'd like to speak. Okay, Sherry, I see 3 speakers. Let's give them each 3 minutes. I'm sure we'll get a couple more, but go ahead and ask the first speaker to go.
Nick Sackett, you need to unmute yourself.
Yes, hi, my name is Nicholas Sackett. I represent Social Compassion and Legislation, and I just wanted to comment that we're in support of appealing the decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Fearing.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Jennifer Fearing for Petitioner Center for Food Safety. Given your offer, President Sklar, I'll just ask that the comments that I made in public comment be entered into the record on this item as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Serena Jepson.
Yes, this is Serena Jepson with the Xerces Society, and I also would like to ask you, Commissioner Sklar, to please enter the comments that I provided earlier on the CISA bumblebee issue to be entered into the public record.
We will do that. I'm going to give anybody else who would like to speak on this issue before we close it. Okay, seeing none, I would ask my fellow commissioners if they would consider a motion to continue this to our February meeting.
I'll move.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Samantha.
Yeah, I'll move that we continue to our February meeting the decision whether to rescind the June 2019 Fish and Game Commission decision.
I'll second.
Okay, so motion made by Vice President Murray, seconded by Commissioner Hostler-Carmerson. Sherry, will you please do a roll call?
Vice President Murray.
Aye.
Commissioner Hostler-Carmerson. Aye. Commissioner Silva.
Aye.
President Sklar.
Aye. Well, thank you. That concludes the Fish and Game Commission meeting for today. We want to thank everybody for a great discussion, particularly my fellow commissioners for a really thoughtful and thorough discussion during executive session. And want to point out that we're now going to be going to our WRC meeting where Commissioner Hostler-Carmerson and I will be co-chairing. We're going to give people about 5 minutes to reorient themselves and get ready to do that. So at exactly 11 o'clock, we're going to reconvene, or we're going to convene the WRC meeting. And we'll be doing it right here on this same Zoom call. So just stick on, and if you want to join that. Otherwise, the Fish and Game Commission meeting is adjourned, and we'll see you all in February. Thank you.